What's going on YouTube? Craig here from AULA Tech Together, coming at you with another product review. And today, we're going to take a look at this. And this is a gaming speed pad by a company called AULA. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, this was purchased for me, by me, with my own money. So with that out of the way, let's get into the review. So here is the actual game pad itself. Now, just so you know, this does come with a wrist rest that does sort of clip onto the back. There's some sort of pegs here that it slides into and it stays on just like so, which is actually really nice. I don't know how well it stays in, so I'm just going to take it out because if I'm doing this, it's going to fall down and cause me a problem. But the wrist rest just pops off like that. And it's kind of a nice soft touch rubber on it. And I've been using this thing for quite a bit, and it doesn't seem to get too gross or sort of like oily or nothing. So, I mean, kudos onto the manufacturer for that. It's a nice little wrist rest for at least the time being. Now, this is a wired gamepad, and it comes with a USB type connector at the end that just plugs right into your tower or into your PC, or whatever. So that's good for power. Looking at the front, and we'll get more to this soon, we have our keys, and this is more closely attuned to a actual keyboard rather than like what Razer or Logitech has that is numbers. This actually has, WASD, GF, enter, spacebar, backspace, all that kind of stuff. Now, just as a side note, you'll notice that the shift key is sort of higher. That really screwed with my head, just because usually my shift key is lower. But I mean, in a game, you could easily just switch that in-game to make it as comfortable as you want. On the back side, pretty sparse. Just some rubber feet here so it doesn't slide around. And in my testing on my Corsair gaming mat, it didn't move a muscle. Now, a bit. Didn't move a bit. That's a better analogy, Craig. So, back to the front. This is a mechanical keyboard. So if I pop off, and if I can grab one of these little keys, because they're hard to get off, there we go. If I pop off that key, you will see a blue stem. So the whole keyboard section, we'll call it, is mechanical. As well as if I pop off one of the other, sort of on this outer ring, and we'll talk about that here in a minute, it is also mechanical. And they're blue switches. They are not Gateron blue. They're not Cherry MX blue. I honestly don't know. I can't see any sort of marking on them to tell me what they are. Now, normally, I could look on the box. Unfortunately, the box has nothing but Chinese on it, and I can't read Chinese. So that right there is a little bit of a disadvantage. It also comes with some instructions. And again, the instructions are 100% in Chinese. Not a single word of English. So, if somebody out there can read Chinese, you might be able to figure out what type of switches are on here, but unfortunately, I can't. But they are a mechanical switch. I don't know how long these switches will last. I've been using it for about a week and a half-ish, and I've noticed no downside to this, but just be aware that quality could be either really good or lacking. So we've got our keyboard section. We also have the upper ring, and this upper ring houses all of your sort of multimedia controls. Let me just hold it a little different here. Houses all your multimedia. So I have volume up, volume down, mute, play, pause, email, Internet Explorer, full screen calculator, all just function, and then like F12 or 12, sorry, and that'll give me all that. So it is very convenient when utilizing this. Now, some of the other aspects and sort of advantages it does have numbers over here on the side, 0 through 9, so 10 keys there. So you can assign those in the software, and I'll talk more about the software here in a little bit. And then you also have 8 macro buttons, sort of designated here by M, 1 through 8. So that is nice. Now, the number pad and the macro buttons are not mechanical. I'm not exactly sure what they are because I wasn't able to pull one off, but they do feel a little bit rubber dome-ish. So aesthetically, I think this thing actually looks pretty good, and they pack a lot of stuff into it. So right now I'm going to give you sort of a quick sound test of these keys. So now that you've sort of heard the blue clickety-clack of the keys, it does sound like a blue switched keyboard. Now, one thing about this is you can use software. There are hardware controls for utilizing this. So if you hit function, the R, the G, and the B button will light up. And then you can cycle through and add more red, more green, more blue to make the colors whatever you want on this keyboard. You can also hit function and then some of your number buttons here. And when I say some of your number buttons, I don't know which buttons do what because, again, there's no real instructions that I can tell what does what. But, little word of advice, if you ever get yourself something set up somewhere that you're not happy with it, if you hit function and escape, which I've pulled the escape off, and you hold it for a few seconds, it'll blink and it'll reset itself back to factory. And I found that actually from a review. Now, normally I don't read reviews on products I'm going to review because I don't want it to compromise sort of my view of it. But in this case, I had to, and I'll explain why here in a few minutes. But, so you can reset completely if you need to. So, that's basically that. Now, one of the major downfalls, and this is why I had to look into other reviews, is because there was supposed to be software with this thing. I did not get a driver disc at all. I didn't get anything. Now, the instructions might tell me the website to go to, but it took me probably 2.5 hours to find the actual software for this keypad. And I'm going to link that software. I'll leave a link down below. So if you buy this sucker, you can just click on my link if you're watching this review and go and get this driver software for this guy because it was a pain in the butt. So that is sort of another knock against it, is just the driver software. It's not really super easy to find. So you kind of add that together with the all Chinese instructions, and it sort of slows down the whole process of this keypad. Now, we'll break down sort of how this software works, so let's do that right now. All right, so before I start into this software sort of demonstration, here is the sort of URL for this product. And I will put this, copy and paste this down in the description below too, so you can sort of find it a little bit quicker rather than having to search like I did for this driver. Now, the drivers do come in sort of a weird RAR or RAR format, so you're gonna have to download something from the Windows Store or something like that to extract it, and then you can find the exe file and then run this driver software. It is a little bit odd, but when I pop up, and this is what you're sort of greeted with, rather, I'll come to this one here. This is what you're sort of greeted with when you launch this software. So this is the custom button mapping. So what I can do is say, okay, well, M1, I have it set to M right now. But if I want M1 and then come over here to the keyboard, I can say, okay, I want it as J. Then I have to come down here and you have to make sure you hit application, or sorry, the check mark. Then you got to make sure you hit application, or else it won't actually register and then assign it to the button. And now apply successful, and now M1 is set to J. If you don't hit this application button, it won't work, and you're just going to spend a lot of your time and effort getting frustrated at this. And you can do that for every single button on here. So if I want to change control, I can come up here, go to keyboard, change it, hit a button on my keyboard, and change control to whatever I want. And I'm just going to turn it back to control, left control, mark, check mark, application. And you can see sort of it's left control there, just like it was, but it shows that there is something on there as sort of a change on the button. Now, I can also come over here and do macros if I want. I'll come back to lighting effect here in a second. I come over here to macro effect. I can make a macro. I can do all that, start recording, and then I can assign that macro. When I come back here, I come back here to macro and assign that macro to whatever button. So if you're playing an MMO or something like that, you could set this up to be quite elaborate. Let's go to lighting effects though, and this is one of the things that sorta I'm not a fan of. You'll notice on the software it shows the outside ring is purple, numbers purple, M1, M2 purple, and then sort of a pinky color in the center. But as you can see in my top corner there, I have a real-time view of that. And you can see that the inside is blue, not purple, and that the outside is green, not purple. If I had application, still stays blue. Okay, well, I want to change it to green. So I'm going to hit green, current color green, application, boop. The actual LEDs in the machine turned green, but the view of this is still not color coordinated. Now I want to show you this here. Let's go current color red. Now I have this set to all lights. So I want the whole board to be red. Hit application, but you'll notice around here, the halo around is green. My focus is being a little bit weird, but that's okay. And my macro buttons are still green, as well as my number pad sort of here on the side is still green. So like I said, it's not 100% RGB addressable. So if I want everything to be sort of a yellow color, application, again, it goes different. Now, I can change, so I can go monochrome breathing. Perfect. Blue, great, boom. But again, the outside stays green. So it is not 100% RGB addressable. And just so you see here, if I go here, product, and I come down, and this is one of the problems that I brought up. Just gotta find it here. Full color backlight. Okay, great. No, best beauty map, sure. But it makes it sound like this thing is 100% RGB addressable. And if I come up here, it is where RGB technology allows for full color customization of the backlight. That is not correct. You do not have full color customization of the backlight. You do on the main board part, but not on the outer ring, which to me is basically false advertising, and I don't like it. You come over here, you have statistics, so it'll kind of start statistics. It'll tell you sort of some statistics of what buttons you push most often, things like that. Not really my cup of tea, but if you're wanting to do that, and it says, note this statistic is for reference only, 10 seconds, nothing too crazy. So you saw how the software works. It's not the most intuitive software I've ever used. It's a little bit clunky, but it does function. So let's take a look at my final thoughts now of this keypad. The build quality is fine. It's plastic, that's okay. I think I paid $80 for it. It feels nice and heavy. I mean, like I said, the switches, I don't know if they're going to last forever, but it's going to last long enough. Some of the disadvantages of it. Well, the all Chinese language thing is a language barrier for me, might not be for you. So that's neither here nor there. The other big problem I have with this is I feel like this product is misrepresented. If you go to their website, it says a fully RGB customizable. That is incorrect. Yes, the number keys here are all RGB customizable. I can do that through the software. I can do that easily. I can also do it to a certain degree through just hardware button configurations. However, this exterior of it is always either green or off. And when I see fully RGB on an advertisement, I think that I should be able to change the colors of the whole thing. Now, I'm not talking about individually addressable RGBs, rather. That's different. But if I want this body here to be maybe blue and I want up here to be red, I should be able to do that. Or make it all white, or all green, or all gray, or all whatever color. I should be able to do that. But the second there's a massive component of this that I cannot change the colors, that to me is not RGB programmable or customizable. So would I recommend this? Well, downfalls, again, language barrier, the fact that the software isn't super good and it took me a long time to find it, and the fact that it's not RGB customizable, I would say no. I don't think I would recommend this. I am getting another one from Wish. Looks considerably different than this. I hope fares a little bit better and it's considerably cheaper. I think I paid $30 for it rather than $80 for this. So, with that out of the way, I hope this review helped you. If you have any questions about this here, the Excalibur, please ask down below. I haven't found a lot of stuff on this keypad. There's not many reviews or anything out there, and you really have to fish. So if you have any questions, ask them down below. And as always, if you like what I do here, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I'd love to hear back from you, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.